A very good morning to all, and welcome to today's webinar, the third day. And today we are going to talk about resume writing and video resume. So I hope all of you are ready to start. We already have some 37, 36 participants. I hope you are all full of energy, you had your breakfast, and you're ready to take whatever we are going to discuss today. This 1 hour would be very exciting. We are going to learn about a lot of things. We are going to learn how to not make the common mistakes while writing CV. We are going to learn how to create the first impression with our resume itself. So let us start. I'm sure most of you are in the final year of your degree course and embarking on your career after university is something you all are excited about. You know what happens after you complete your graduation? Mostly many graduates find themselves facing the same frustrating conundrum. And what is it? You need experience to get a job, but on the other hand, you need a job to get an experience. And this is something we have been listening to it. People have been sharing this. We have been hearing to it for many years. But let me tell you, don't focus on this old saying because time has changed.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, time has changed. And with the changed time, you all are lucky because today what hiring managers, what employers value most is not just gained through the world of work. Your time has changed. Our time was different. We had to learn so many things when we started working. But today, your colleges, your universities, the professional training institutes tend to make you a ready package. You are made ready for the work world, for the working world, for the job world. So you have a lot of skills which we had learned when we started working, but you have learned the skills in your college itself. One such example is soft skills. And today again, the second example is what we are going to do today. Talk about CV writing and video resume, something which is very, very important at this moment of time. So let us take this one by one and discuss in details how we can work on it. Now, as I was saying, luckily the skills which employers value most are not only those which are gained through the world of work. We have learned it, we are learning it in our colleges, in our professional institute. So now what we need to do is we need to put them right on the CV. And the trick to writing a CV with no experience, as you all are still students, so you don't have any experience. So the trick to writing a CV with no experience is finding creative way to show you have the transferable skills that is needed to make you a fantastic hire. Now, completing your graduation from good college or university doesn't guarantee that you get a good job. You know, there are many, many candidates, many students who come from very good university. But if you are not able to showcase your skills through your resume, at the moment we will talk about simple resume, video resume, we are going to take it later. So if you're not able to showcase your skills through your resume, if you're not able to talk about your skills in the interview, the stamp of very good university and very good college really does not work. You know, at least I would say that in today's competition, the competition scenario that we all are facing, where a person who has a decent score, if you have a decent score and and a list and a whole lot of skills which you can present, which you can show that yes, these are the skills I have, which I would need to be successful in the workplace, you would be a better option for the employers. Now, one thing we need to keep in mind when we are saying this, and that one thing, the most important thing is presentation. So whether it is presenting your skills in your CV or presenting yourself in the interview or presenting yourself in the video resume, this is very important. Why is it so? Because presentation is the key to market any product. We all know that presentation is the key to market any product, and it applies to your resume as well. Now let me take an example. Let's say a company seeks an employee and they have got a wonderful, handsome salary. And you got the details of what they're providing, a wonderful, handsome salary. Well, there is an espresso machine which you would love to operate in the breaks of your work. You have the ergonomic chair, which you have dreamt of sitting on it, working. And of course, the job of your choice, your dream job. You have everything. You send your resume. But then why are you angering the hiring manager? You should have done things which should have made him more interested. But then why are you angering him? Now, if I ask you this, definitely you will tell me, wait, what have I done? Why would I anger the person? I know you are not aware of what you have done, but you have done it. And do you know in most cases, how does this happen? This happens through the CV or the resume that you send. Students tend to overlook so many things that finally they end up making so many mistakes in the resume that the hiring manager, when he glances at it, he gets irritated. He gets annoyed. He thrashes the CV, the resume. Now, why does this happen? We need to look up into it. We need to think about it and we need to work on it. If I sound scary to you, please don't be scared because I am here with the solution. I am here to tell you what we need to do so that we do not end up making the mistake of angering the hiring manager. Instead, when the hiring manager would glance at our CV, at our resume, we would be memorable, remarkable. They would mark us, they would remember us, and they would pay more attention on our resume. So let us start talking about it further. See, the job search can be really daunting for freshers. We need to understand that on an average, each companies, they receive around some 75 to 250 job applications for one vacancy. I hope you understand what I'm saying. On an average, they receive some 75 to 250 applications for one vacancy. So what happens? They need to go through all the resumes. Yes, they need to go through all of them. So they hardly give 6 to 7 seconds glance on each resume. Yes, my dear students, you need to understand that this 6 to 7 seconds is the time you have to create the impression. This 6 to 7 seconds is the time you have to attract the attention further. This 6 to 7 seconds is the time you have to win the job which you were dreaming for many years. So the first glance at your CV, at your resume, should be so impressive that the hiring manager, it would compel the hiring manager to spend some more time on your resume. And once the hiring manager gives some more time, more than that 7 seconds, you are almost halfway towards getting an interview call. And this is what our target should be. So let's continue. This is a reason why writing a perfect resume plays a very crucial role in your job search. See, the first thing you need to understand is that it has to be a planned process. Now, to help you remember what I'm sharing, verbally whatever I'm sharing, I would like to share some slides along with whatever I am saying verbally to you, so that you can read what is there in the slides as well as you listen to me. And when you uses these two senses, your hearing senses and your eyes, both of them, when you read them as well, you tend to remember them. You can even note them down. You can even write them down so that you can use this information when you sit together to write your resume. So let me share my screen, and I suppose this is what I'm trying to share. Yes.
Motorists.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's So let me go into the slideshow. I suppose this is visible now. Okay. So today we are actually going to talk about this, a key to success of our life is the first step we take when we write our resume. And video resume is something we are going to take along with it, because this is something which is the call of the hour. So as I was saying, presentation is the key to market any product. Why do we need to write a resume? Why do we need to go for an interview? We actually need to market ourselves. We actually need to sell our skills. First we need to showcase our skills, then we need to sell our skills in an interview. It is all about selling. So how we do that? When we focus on marketing a product, we need to focus on the best qualities of that product. So this is the same thing which you need to do when you are going to market yourself as well. And the first thing you need to understand is that it has to be a very planned process. So please try and understand, I'm repeating it for you. It has to be a very planned process. Writing a CV is not just putting your qualifications and your percentage or your hobbies, etc. It is much, much more than that. It is all about organizing your useful information for the recruiters, so that you can market yourself, so that you can pitch yourself. In the marketing terms, it is known as pitching yourself. What is pitching? Is showing or talking about the most important qualities of the product. So here it is skills that you have. So this is the reason, many freshers find it a little difficult, confusing, daunting to prepare a professional resume that can end or that can up their game rather. Let's see the positive side of it. Writing a professional resume that can up their game in the tough job market. And we all know how tough the present scenario is. Keeping that in mind, we need to start working. So the first thing is preparation, as I told. We need to prepare, we need to plan. So before writing a resume, the first thing that you need to know is you need to know yourself well. You need to find out the answer to these questions because this will help you to put the important informations on your CV. So the first thing is how you see yourself because this matters. When you will make a video resume, when you will go for an interview, how you see yourself is what is going to give you your confidence to talk. So this is very, very, very important. You need to understand this. You need to find out how you see yourself. So please don't be overconfident over here, my dear student. Be honest to yourself. Try and understand how, at this very moment, when you are the final year students, how do people around you perceive you? You know, what are the qualities they find in you? You have to understand this because this will help you. This will help you market yourself. There is something called branding yourself. Create your own brand. Now that is a completely different topic, but it has some connection to this. And the two points which connects to this is how you see yourself and how people around you perceive you. What are the qualities they find in you? What are the qualities you find in yourself? And when you look into these two questions, you will get the answer to the third question. That is, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Now, you know which stream you are into. You know very well. I'm sure you know very well which industry you're going to step into. And hence you need to find out, you need to make a list of your strengths and weaknesses. And you need to find out which strengths are helpful for you to be successful in the industry. And which weaknesses can be threats for you. Once you do this, you have to identify your most impressive quality. Yes, you need to identify your most impressive qualities. This is really, really necessary. Why? Because putting all these qualities together is what you are going to make a personal sales speech. So therefore, you have to figure out what you are trying to sell about yourself. So make a list of all things that you are good at, you are strong at. It may be professional. It may not be. It may link to your industry and your stream. It may not be. Never mind. My dear student, keep listing them. Because this list is going to help you when you write your resume. Next, list your skills rather than roles. Now, why did I say this? You know, many people work during their college days as well. But it may not be in the industry which you are targeting to enter. It may be many different roles. And that roles may not connect to your industry. So it's better you do not put the roles. Instead, you list the skills which helped you in those roles. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Am I clear in what I'm saying? Are you all able to understand what I'm saying? Please respond. Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's great. One response is good enough. Thank you. So if you haven't worked before or if you have worked is in any unrelated industry, let's say unrelated industry, because it may not be the industry you are targeting now. So what is necessary is to start mentioning the skills in your CV rather than the roles you have done. Because employers will see them with much more interest and that will be much more relevant in your current job. So you need to write down all those skills which you might have used in either doing some unrelated industry job or some other kind of job, any kind of volunteering, anything that you have done. Now, when I say this, that list the skills that you have learned or that you have acquired while doing other kind of job, it doesn't mean that I'm saying you to overlook the obvious skills of today's industry or today's world. See, what am I trying to talk of? What are the obvious skills? For example, the range of softwares you are comfortable using. How much social media savvy you are. Now, when I say this, I'm not talking of the spunky video uploads that people do. Using the social media in a very professional way. You know, often graduates leave out skills, I would say. These obvious skills which employers want to know because they think that this helps you to become a better hire. If you can do something which could be useful in the workplace, but which is very obvious, maybe 8 out of 10 people has this skill, doesn't matter. Do not forget them. Do mention them in the skill sector. So this can be anything, as I said. This can be the range of softwares you know. This can be how well you are adapted to technology, any such skills. Today, most of you are technically very, very sound. If you ask me my personal experience, I get to learn so many technical things from my students. I am not as technically sound as you are. But in spite of that, try, think, evaluate, use your brain and see that these obvious skills, if they connect to your workplace, to your industry, do mention that. The next is treat your extracurricular activities as if they are jobs that you have done. Why I'm saying extracurricular activities? See, extracurricular activities, if you are pursuing something at a serious level, you are putting your time, your dedication, you have your determination in pursuing that. This leaves a very positive mark. And if it is some other form of extracurricular activities, those are also important. See, just because you weren't paid for that, doesn't mean that you did not gain any experience in that. It can be any volunteer roles. So that can also be an extracurricular activities. So the length of the time, mention that you have done it. What relevant task you have undertook. You mention what skills you have learned from there. So these are important. Just you can use some bullet points and mention them. Now the second last is which I have written as add some personality. You might want to ask a question, what is this add some personality? Now when I say add some personality, I'm trying to talk about something that helps you to stand out from the crowd, that makes you memorable. And being memorable is a big boost towards getting called in for an interview. It can be anything. It can be like running a marathon. It can be winning an award. It can even be skydiving, where it shows that how brave you are, how adventurous you are. So look for the appropriate word which can define your personality so that you can stand out from the competition or from the rest, let's say. And finally, write a personal statement about yourself, because this is something you will definitely need when you're writing a cover letter. Many or most of the job applications wants a cover letter. So you have to write a personal statement about yourself. Please keep this in mind. This needs a lot of attention, because you need to write it, modify it, read it, again modify it, because this will be the very first thing any potential employer will read. So you need to get it right. It need to be short and simple, a maximum of 125 words. So here you need to, it's like an elevator pitch that you would be giving somebody. I hope you know what an elevator pitch is. So it's like an elevator pitch that you would be giving somewhere. So you should start by introducing yourself with your education level, the top skills that you have, which connects to the industry, how self-motivated you are as a recent graduate, how hardworking you have been, how curious you are with this, towards this industry, working with this industry, how motivated, how interested. So all these things needs to be expressed in about 125 words. So this is something you should keep ready so that this helps you when you start putting in everything in the form of your CV. Saying that, now we are going to continue, or now we are going to talk about directly how to write the CV. So let us talk about the do's and don'ts of the resume. Now, it's not just the do's and don'ts. I will be talking about the pros and cons, or I would be talking about the sequence. See, the manner in which I have mentioned it in the slides of the do's and don'ts is actually the sequence in which you should be writing your CV. So as you can see, the first information that you should be using, not just you because you are a student, it can be a student, present student, it can be a fresh graduate, it can be a experienced professional, whoever is writing the CV. The first thing that you need to do is put your contact information. So what is it that you need to put? Your contact information right on the top for good visibility on the job resume. It should be visible, it should be prominent. I would advise you to put your photograph as well beside your name. So it should be your photograph because, I'm sure you all would agree to me if I say that offline sessions or offline classes were much more interesting. We were much more active. We were much more participating when we had online classes and session than what we are when we are attending online. So offline was much better. We were more active, more participating, more interesting during offline sessions, face-to-face sessions. Whereas in online sessions, these qualities have gone down. Similarly, why? Because we get to see each other. We get to see our faces. Similarly, when you put your photograph on the resume, it creates a very positive impact. It shows your confidence. It also shows, a proper photograph shows that you are confident about showing yourself. This is where many people becomes a little shaky, if that's the right word that I can use. So put your photograph and then your name and the contact information. So your name, your mailing address can be put later on as well. But what is most important is your name, your mobile number, and your email. These three things should be there on the top. And if you can add on your mailing address in short, brilliant, along with your photograph. Now, something I have written here in bold, that is use a professional email. Now, students, please try and understand that your email, when the hiring manager reads your email, makes a difference. Many freshers continue to use a funky email ID that they might have created during your high school or during their college days for social networking. Now, this is very unprofessional to use such email ID because this really doesn't work. When you are searching for a job and need to share it with your employer, create a professional email ID and make sure that you check this email frequently. You have to be very active with this. So even if you have, email ID like cute little Gemini at yahoo.com, please do not use it. The professional email ID would be something which has your name along with the service address or the email provider address. So make it professional. That is very, very important. The next one is resume objective. Now this objective, you can have a general one as well as you can have a tailor-made for each individual job. So what I would suggest you, make a general one objective which talks about your interest in the industry and how you want to grow and contribute to the industry. My dear students, this is very, very important. Most of the resume objective talks about, I would like to get a chance so that I can do this, so that I can become successful, so that I can learn. People only talk of what they want. Students only talk of what they want to learn, what they want to earn, what experience they want to gain. But hiring managers are not looking for that. They are looking for what they are going to get. So you need to mention this, that stepping into this industry, what is it that you would want to contribute to the industry as well? What is it that you would want to contribute to the organization as well? So you can make it a general one, and as required, focusing on the individual job, you can tailor make it or you can change it as it is required. So these are the first two important information, and the sequence you can maintain. See, there are a whole lot of examples in the internet. Some designs are very smart, some CV designs, resume designs. But what is necessary is to understand that when you are a student or when you are a fresher, what information is important or which information are of utmost priority. Accordingly, you need to arrange them. And in your case, it is contact information, your photograph, your resume objective, and obviously your education summary is next which should follow. And this is, it's very obvious by the name. And this is where you would list your degrees and your relevant academic accomplishments. Okay, so somebody has put their mic on. Can you please put your mic off? Put your mic on mute. Thank you. So in your education summary section, you need to put your degrees and relevant academic information. Now this is the part which differs from CV to CV. If you are still a student, when you are writing your CV or your resume, it is little different. If you are a graduate, recent graduate, you have completed your graduation, it is a little different. So since you all are students, I'm going to mostly talk about this. So as a student, you should place your education section at the beginning of your resume. And it should be present in a reverse chronological order. So the last qualification or the last degree should come on top. And you can start from your 10th, 12th graduation. This is how you should be doing. If you're pursuing something, that would be mentioned there, and whatever last ones you have secured, that would come accordingly. So this is necessary. Initially, we used to suggest that this should come in a tabular form, in a table, because that makes it more prominent. The focus goes there directly. Yes, you can also do that. Place it in a tabular form, in the form of a table, so that the focus is direct on that. And what are the other things you need to mention after that? Immediately after the education section, because education section is not just mentioning your degrees or last acquired degrees. It's also talking about all these things. So internship, if you have not done anything, it's high time you apply for it. It's high time you look for it. It's high time you start doing that. So you need to write or mention about your internship here. Here it's written, state the name of the organization where you have interned, the location, the date during the time, and just use 2 bullet points to mention the nature of work that you have done there, what kind of work you have done there. This is necessary. Then you can write about your projects that you have carried, you have done in your college, if it is an individual project, if it is a team project, what role you have played in the project. And some information, very brief information about the projects is good enough. But a mention is a must. Then comes volunteering. Volunteering for any kind of causes. It can be any social cause, it can be environmental cause, whichever it is. It can be volunteering for any academic cause as well. You know, this is necessary. Because if you have given time for it, you should be mentioning it. So these are very, very important for those like you, for those people like you, students who are still students. Because this shows that how active you have been, not just in your, preparing for your exam and scoring high marks, but also with all other sides of the academics. And once again, if you haven't done any internship yet, it's high time you apply for it. This is something I would like to repeat. Now, since within a year, maybe you would become, all of you would become graduates. So some little information I would give when you would turn fresh graduate and you would use your CV. Please don't worry about experiences because, of course, fresh graduates or freshers do not have much experiences. But what are the other things that you can put in your CV as a student as well as when you become fresh graduate? One is the academic awards. So any kind of national merit awards, like I'm sure most of you have appeared for all kinds of Olympiad exams and assets which high school students usually appear for. And many of you have got remarkable results, certificates, grades in that. So you can mention that. So any national merit award, any kind of school subject-based awards from your high school or in your colleges, any kind of scholarship you have got, even if it is athletic scholarship, scholarship for any creative work, any artwork, whatever it is, it needs to be mentioned because scholarships are not given to everybody. They're only given to those few people who deserve it, who have reached that level where the academic institutions feel happy to provide them with the scholarship. So it's like an honor that is being given to you. And any kind of other publications if you have, that you need to find out because you all are from the engineering stream. So if you had any opportunity to make any kind of publications, then you should mention it. Any kind of blogging you are doing, you should mention it. Whatever attracts, the hiring manager's attention to show that you have skills connected to the industry, you should be mentioning it. And in the first slide, we have discussed about all the obvious skills and other skills that you have, which really connects to the industry. Mention them first, and other skills which may not directly connect, but it's always good and appreciable to have such skills, you can mention it to the end. And finally, I have discussed these extracurricular activities because they mean that you have put extra time, you have dedication, you have determination when you are pursuing those things. They are worth mentioning. And finally, you need to add reference because you are students, you are freshers, you need to add references. And what are these references? They are senior professionals, maybe from your college, maybe from your industry, who will vouch for your character, who will tell you, yes, it's worth hiring you as an employee. And when you mention their references, of course, what are the things you need to mention? You need to mention their full name. You need to mention their professional roles, their mobile number, and their email ID. You need to talk to them, get their permission, tell them that you need their reference to step into the industry, to be successful in life, and only then add them to your references. Make sure that if any hiring manager calls them or connects them for references, they should give very positive impression about you. So you have the back end job is you need to connect to them and tell them and convince them that you would be putting them as references in your CV. They should be aware of it. It shouldn't be that one fine day they get a call and then they start thinking of who you are. And the hiring manager gets to understand that you have just put down their names. They hardly can vouch for you. So this shouldn't be the case. So this is actually the sequence in which you should be preparing your resume. Now, those were the do's that we were talking about. And when I need to talk about the don'ts, let me tell you, my dear student, talking about the don'ts, most of you know what these don'ts are. Most of them are very obvious. I will just talk of the 3 most important don'ts. First, do not use too many fonts.
Sorry, ma'am, I can't understand about this part.
I was talking about what you should be doing or how you should be designing your CV, the do's of your resume. Now I'm going to talk of, or I'm trying to talk of the don'ts, the things which you should not be doing while you would be preparing your resume. Okay, so this slide talks of what you should not be doing. And I know most of you are aware of the obvious ones that you should not be doing. I will just talk about the most important things which you should be careful about not doing. Number 1, too many fonts. Sometimes we try to design our CV with many different fonts. This shouldn't be there. This is not a place to show your how artistic you are. No, you don't need to show it here. You will get ample opportunities in your life to show that. It has to be a very simple format. You have to maintain the size, the font and margin in your resume. Your main focus is it should look very clean and sophisticated, and it should give the required information. Your main target is to showcase your information. That is your education, your qualification, whatever academic excellences you have done, whatever projects you have done, internship you have done. It is not to show how artistic you are. So maintain the symmetry. It shouldn't be unpleasing to the eyes. It should be readable. And maintain a proper format. Now the second one is very, very important, and the most important thing that you should remember. Please do not give any false information in your resume. Lying on your resume at times seems to be very tempting, but please do not do it. I request you to strictly refrain from it. Give only true facts and figures, because even if you mention false information and you get the job, the day you start working with your organization, they are going to find out the truth immediately. And I hope you understand what would be the consequences after that. So don't make a fool of yourself in the job interview room or maybe later on by giving false information, because they can easily find out what is true. So number 2 is very important. And the third one is, as I told that you can mention your hobbies or other interests, it doesn't mean that you can put in anything and everything. if you are going into the IT industry, if you're going into the industry of technology, I don't think mentioning cooking as your hobby is necessary here. You really have nothing, or cooking has nothing to do with the IT industry. So try and put relevant hobbies there. I have seen many resumes where people, you wouldn't believe, students have put watching TV, browsing the internet, playing video games as their hobbies. Now this creates a negative impact rather than creating a positive impact. So do not do that. And finally, limit your resume to just one page. As I told, 6 to 7 seconds is what you have. So if you can put all the information neatly and clearly in one page, that is where hiring managers will be interested, because they have innumerable resumes to go through. So the final conclusion is, don't underestimate yourself. Your job resume,
Ma'am,
yes,
ma'am, can I give reading books?
yes, of course, definitely, because reading is a very good hobby. And in today's world, you know, everybody needs to update and upgrade themselves with whatever skills they have. And if you do not read, how will you learn? How will you update? How will you upgrade? So, you know, those days are gone when you have passed your college and whatever degrees you have, you're going to work throughout your life with that knowledge. You people are from the world of engineering, so you know how important it is to upgrade and update yourself, isn't it? And hence
Yes, ma'am.
reading is one of the most important thing that you can mention. So instead of mentioning reading books, you can only put reading and updating and upgrading. These things will show that you are interested in improving, in updating, in upgrading, in learning. Because employers want quick learners, people who want to improve, who want to change, who want to progress. That is a very interesting one. I really like that you have mentioned it. So one thing keep in mind, nothing to be scared, be organized, plan as I have told, be honest and proud of whatever you have achieved, and showcase them in a very planned manner in your resume.
Ma'am, can I give sorry, ma'am.
As a,
Ma'am,
yeah, yes.
ma'am, can I give outdoor games including hobbies?
Yes, outdoor games. Those are extracurricular activities. See, if you say that I play cricket in winter, well, that is not really your hobby or an extracurricular activity. When I talk of extracurricular activity or a hobby, I'm very regular with it. This is where many students make a mistake. Something that you do once in 12 months or once in 6 months is not a hobby or not an extracurricular activity which you are really active in. Hobbies and extracurricular activities are something which you are pursuing continuously along with your academics. Do you understand? Even if it is an outdoor game, yes, go for it, mention it. Be proud to mention it. Okay. Did you understand what I'm saying? I hope that is clear. So whatever things that are positive, these are all positive things. When I'm saying cooking actually only talks of, you know, you are interested in, you are a big foodie, let's say. Mostly I have seen people who are good big foodies, turns out to be good cook. Now that has nothing to do with your industry. But if you are going to step into something like MasterChef competition and all, then you can put. So what I'm trying to say is something which is relevant. Physical activities, sports activities are relevant, provided you do it regularly, because it shows, yes, teaching can also be, it's a hobby. You want to mention it as a hobby. Okay, yes, you can. Because it actually shows that you have enough confidence in the subject. You have so much of confidence in the subject that you are eager to share it, to share the knowledge with others. Yes, it can also be mentioned. But as I say, you can add some adjectives and some small definition in bullet points with it. Now, this is all about CV. And one thing, my dear students, please remember, do not copy paste from the net. Because the CV you are trying to copy, the CV you are trying to follow from the net is somebody else's. It talks about some other personality and you are different. You are the best person who know who you are, what you are and what you can do. So following the sequence, design your CV all by your own and be confident because you are the best person who knows every single details of it. And finally make it. So that's all about writing CV. Now we are going to talk of video resume, which is again something which is very, very important in today's generation. See, by now you all must have understood that the first effect of your presence when you apply a job is with your resume. Now, it is fair to say that it has a big role in making your first impression. Now, if you think of making a good first impression, one way to do it is by making a video resume. Now, why are we talking of video resume? We are talking of video resume because it is a must in today's challenging time. I hope you understand what I'm trying to point at. See, the whole world and the economies are going through very, very tough and challenging times due to this pandemic. The whole world has become confined to at home. Students are doing online classes. Working professionals are working from home. So everything is turning online. And in this challenging time, if you have a video resume ready along with your resume, this is perhaps the best thing that you can do to yourself or you can do for yourself. See, earlier we have passed through several recessions, which has actually slowed down our economy, our life. But this pandemic is the worst hit that we are worst hit with. So at this moment of crisis, we have to do something beyond common imagination. And if we talk of that, video resume is something that we need to talk of. Now, what is video resume? See, I mentioned in the first slide that you need to create a personal statement about it. I told that you might read it when you're writing a cover letter. I told it is like an elevator pitch. Yes, my dear students, your video resume is an elevator pitch or a personal statement you have about yourself or an answer to the question, why should I hire you? Please try and understand. I'm not telling you to create a video resume because it is a substitute of the traditional CV. No, never. Your traditional resume, which we discussed earlier, is the most important even today. But as the time is proceeding with these challenges all around, creating a video resume is a step ahead towards your success. So when I say creating a video resume, once again, let me tell you, video resume means where you're talking about yourself, you're giving a personal statement about yourself, you are making an elevator pitch, or you are answering the question, why should I hire you? Now, why have I asked you to make a video resume? Because it differentiates you from other job seekers. Though it has not become mandatory till now. If you have it ready, if you can forward it to the company or to the job portals, it can differentiate you from others because it will show that you are tech savvy, and that is something which every employers would want for. It puts yourself above the rest of the job seekers. You are able to project, showcase your key skills, your strength, your personality, your professionalism, your charm, your enthusiasm, everything through your video resume, which you cannot show through a traditional paper resume or whatever soft copy you write about it, a document or a PDF resume. And when you have a video resume, nowadays we get to hear many organizations are asking for video resume. There are possibilities that you get an interview call. Because now face-to-face interview calls are not really working. It is telephonic interview call. The face-to-face interview call, major part of it is done through your video resume. Your employers are satisfied, happy, and then they are giving you a telephonic call. So it is a great platform to sell yourself. Make it ready. Be equipped with every requirements that you need in this difficult time. So let's see how you can do it quickly. Since we have started little late, I'll take a couple of more minutes. Let's see quickly how we can do it. I know you people are great at creating videos. But you need to be a little careful here because this is not a casual video. This is a very, very professional one. First thing, you need to smile. You know, you can create, edit, create, reject, and finally you would come to the perfect one. It's not that you're going to make it at one go. So practice, create, watch it, show it to your friends, your family members, check with them, get their feedback, make the changes and create it. So it would take some time, but definitely it's worth working. First is smile, keep a smile on, because that shows you are confident, you are interested, you are eager. Be very professional. When I say be very professional, I'm talking of your attire, your dress, the dress that you are wearing. You need to be very, very professional in that. Find a good background. Now, video resume background, if you don't have any proper corner at your house, which is good enough, then record it against a blank wall. That is good enough. But be careful if you have pictures hanged on the wall and other things. It shouldn't be too funky. It should be very professional and decent. If you get nothing, just a blank wall is good enough. Lighting should be good. Because
Ma'am,
you should
I
be
have a
able to...
question. Can I ask?
Yes.
As you said that we should have a good background, it is mean that can I hang a portrait of God or goddess in the background? Because in Indian household you know that there is many pictures of God.
I know in Indian household we do have, like we tend to hang pictures of gods and goddesses at every room. I know, but actually that really doesn't give a very formal background. So as I told that if you don't have a proper, if you're really doubtful about it, record it against a plain blank wall. That is good enough. Or even if your study room, your table, you can do it there if the background is good. Maybe you have a bookshelf at your background. Good enough.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, but it has to be organized. Your background has to be organized. And you need to make sure that you have enough lighting because you need to show your face. The focus will be on your face, on your expression. And for that, also you need to make a good eye contact throughout. Look at the camera and talk. Do not look at anything else. But do not look like a robot. Okay, so you need to be little more, you need to feel comfortable. So that's why I told at the first go, this may not be right. So gradually, maybe after 5-6 takes, it will be fine. So the first things you need to remember, you need to smile, you need to wear a very professional cloth, the cloth which you would wear if you are called for an interview. That is a formal shirt. You would be showing the upper half of your body, not the full length. That doesn't make any sense because you're